Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, big Anthony Brown, Sunshine Design and Build, Brian Adams here. Dominate your life, dominate your trade, life and business. Shit, I ain't calling it advice. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe advice sounds like you giving someone advice. Kind of sounds like if you try this. And we're not trying. If we're not saying if you try this, we're telling you the facts. It's like
Yeah.
we've been in the trenches. It's like I'm arguing with dumbasses on Facebook all day, going, "Dude, I ain't guessing it. I'm not guessing at this. I didn't watch a YouTube video yesterday and say, oh yeah, this may work.' I'm like, no, man. I've done it over and over again, and it works over and over again. I've told other guys to do it. It works over and over again. So I don't know. So the word advice doesn't even turn out right. But how you been, Anthony? How you been, brother?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Good, bro.
Good.
Should have plugged this thing into the direct line. Man, I don't know, a couple of things. I know you just said you wanted to talk about the misconception or the conception of going from, I guess what, like as the contractor working on the job to the business owner, making that leap and the conceptions. I wanted to talk about that, because I've always said it's like 3 to 5 years to build a business. There's always magic numbers, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, never changes. And then I want to ask you, is there a most important part of your business? I want to talk about Vivek versus Trump. It really looks like it's going to be those two going neck and neck for the Republican nomination. I watched that whole thing with Vivek on PDB, and it's like a small.
What was your takeaway on it?
Man, and I've always liked that guy. I liked him before he even announced that he was going to run. When he started doing the books on the whole the woke agenda and the EGS score. He wanted to talk about not politics. He just wanted to talk about what was real and what wasn't real, and COVID and all this other crap. And the board of directors and shit at his company that he started didn't think it was a good idea. So he said, fine, I'll resign. And then, because that whole ESG score was like BlackRock and those guys only loaning money and kind of dominating the world, really. Like that whole the Bud Light thing and Target, all of that stuff is to get a better ESG score. And so not just to talk shit about it, Vivek starts a freaking company loaning money to corporations and companies without all of that. He's fighting back in different ways. And that was way before he started, announcing that he was going to run for president. So I've always been a fan of his.
What is the EGS?
Have you seen him much? Have you watched him? Listened to him?
Explain EGS. What is EGS score?
Oh man, I should have wrote it down. It's environmental. Elon said that the S stands for satanic.
Satanism.
It says some shit like, and it's and then the G is like the whole climate change thing.
Right.
Yeah, so all of that. So the social stuff, your social score, and like they really, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's this year or going into next year's Oscars, and I don't care about the Oscars either way, but now it's like to be even nominated for an Oscar, you have to have a certain amount of LGBT people in your in your movie. You got to have the gay thing. You got to have this. You got to have whatever. It's a whole list of things, and it's like, no, man, just make a good movie. Shit, leave all of that. That's. If that stuff is important, man, it'll work its way to the top. And they're fine. And so a lot of companies are losing money. That whole culture cancel shit, I ain't all into that, but it's like they're trying to push, their philosophy and their agenda on people. And since, it's always the golden rule, the one with the gold rules. So the guy who has the money rules it.
So I've been reading this book past week or so called Soft War. It's written by Major Jason Lowry of the Air Force and Space Force, and he's talking about, it's called A Novel Theory on the Projection of Power and the National Strategic Significance of Bitcoin. And it's really less about Bitcoin and more about the differences between how we interact as species and inner and outer species conflict with projection of power, and whether it's physical versus abstract. Like for example, you and your Kajukenbo, right? You project an actual physical projection of power that is tangible, right? And it exists in reality. And if somebody were to mess with you, you would tie them in a pretzel, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, a politician has this abstract projection of power where it just all exists inside of our head, right? And so what you're kind of talking about is like this abstract projection of power with, the whole LGBTQ scenario, like, hey, we have to do this thing that we all believe in, otherwise, we're not brave or we're not courageous. And he goes into this whole scenario about how, he does tie it together with Bitcoin, but that's beside the point. Is how societies tend to, empires rise and fall based on the power projection of physical versus abstract. And typically empires tend to be on the decline when they place importance on the abstract, the people who can project the most abstract power. Most species on the planet operate in a way where those who project the physical power more are actually more deserving of the resources of, the whole tribe or the whole species as it works towards betterment of its own colony or collective endeavor. So,
and that kind of makes sense, as in, like, if you got a tribe and there's 3 or 4 guys that go out and every day bring back meat and food and protect you, it's like they should, have a little bit more say so in the tribe.
Yeah.
Not the ones who are sitting around, philosophizing.
Well, and here we are, we're living in the society where, people are, judged on how they have sex and who they have sex with versus, what they can actually accomplish in a scenario, of reality, and it's like, great. So you're gay, you have sex with the same, you have sex with people who, you have sex. Great. You're gay. Yeah. Woohoo. Right. So it's like, I never really understood attaching my identity to such things, I guess. Never made much sense to me.
No, it's like, and it's that whole, I've heard it so many times, and I don't know it word for word, but it's hard times, or build hard men, and hard men make the soft times, and then the soft times, but it's like, so it's that vicious cycle. And it's like, I don't, all honesty is like, I even like these contractors that I'm working with right now for the next couple of months, and I've got them doing a lot of stuff, but it's if you're, and I said, man, dude, if we're born in America, you get to waking up in America, you have nothing to fucking complain about. It's like when you go to some of these other countries where you don't have, the opportunities and the it's crazy. It's like we have to create our own problems and struggles. And I know it's like paying the bills and all that other shit, but if you're not paying the bills, it's pretty much you. It's your you're either not saving your money right, you're spending your money wrong, you're not working your ass off, you can get to all of that shit because you're in America. You may be in a country where there is no work and where you can't get ahead, and you are like, born into society to where, if you're not born into it, you can't rise above your standards. And that's not America. That's why so many people still want to get to America. It's still the land of the dreams and opportunities and all of that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Before I forget, because I don't have it in my notes, my wife sent me a video, and I shared it on my Facebook page. I was wondering if I could learn. I should try to share it, even on this broadcast. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's this dude. You can tell he's ripped up. You can tell he's on the juice.
Right.
And no big
deal. Do a
deal.
Screen share. Let's check it out.
Yeah. I wonder how do you hit invite, present, share the screen. Let's see here. There it is. Share So he's got. Can you see this?
Yeah, I can.
He got the So some dude's interviewing him, and he says, "Yeah, I got the vaccine."
Did you really?
Yeah. For
Really?
yeah.
A
Yeah,
peer
just-
pressured into the vax?
Yeah, kind
Is
of.
that what you're saying? That's, I don't
Went to the doctor and I did my blood work again because I take my blood work all the time. And then I show it to the doctor and we kind of see these particles and I'm like, what is this? And then they always
No way,
this
dude.
is
Shut the fuck up.
this is from this. And I'm like, oh my God. Reason why people they die, they have these white blood clots, tons of them in the blood everywhere. And so they're like, this is what you maybe have.
Oh, that guy died. Yeah. Yeah, he was. He just recently died. Yeah.
Trying
can't
to.
remember.
Are we back? Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it. So he just recently died.
Yeah,
And,
just recent. And so I told my wife, I said, "Well, shit, that depressed the hell out of me."
And he was like what? Like in his
30
late
years
30s?
old. 30. I think he's 30.
Oh, early.
Just 30, straight across the board. Crazy, man. I've been just like.
So is it being suggested that the vaccine is actually what did him in, or do you think
Yeah,
it's the
100%.
juice,
That's
or-
what they're saying. I mean, if you're, I think YouTube has pretty much canceled it, and I don't know if Facebook has, but it's on, definitely on Twitter. It's died suddenly. Man, that's all they post is stories like that over and over again. Young people dying of blood clots and heart attacks. And
that's a common theme amongst people who have died from the vaccine.
Yeah, and
how do you know? I mean, I'm just curious. How is there an actual link between blood clots and the vaccine?
Yeah, and it starts with an M, the Moga, whatever. It's something to do with the heart, and they knew that, and now they're trying to, but they get a get out of jail free card because you can't sue them, but they knew that was part of the problem and never mentioned it, never brought it up. So what they're looking at is you can't sue the pharmaceutical companies. That law was passed years ago because of Ronald Reagan. But what they're looking at now is different companies, like some sheriff departments, police departments, fire departments, even some of the army, some of these big companies and corporations who forced them to get the vaccine to keep their job. So some of them got laid off, got their job back, and got all their back pay because they're like, no, I ain't doing it. Fire me. So they got fired, didn't take the vaccine, got fired, ended up going to court, won the case, got their job back, and got all their back pay. Yeah. But now they're looking at these ones who were forced to get the vaccine to keep their job. Those companies don't fall underneath that umbrella of, you can't sue the pharmaceutical company, but you may be able to sue the company that forced you to get the vaccine to keep your job. So that's going to be interesting over the next 3 to 5 years, if something becomes of that.
Well, it's an interesting thing I saw the other day. I saw something, and I've seen it a couple times, and it's just a meme, but it made me really kind of think about. It said, what did it say? It said, none of us have ever regretted not getting it. Right? Yeah. And it's crazy to me. I almost got it too. And looking back on it, from now, I'm glad I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that anybody who didn't get it would probably fall in that line. I'm curious if there's somebody who didn't get it and they're just sitting around going, man, I wish I would have gotten the booster and the booster's booster.
Yeah. Give it all to me. Because I love that comedian who says, and what's a booster? Ain't that just another vaccine? So it's like 4 vaccines. It's not one vaccine and booster is because you don't want to say get another vaccine. It's like, it's all the vaccine. It's just more vaccines.
I'd be really interested to sit down and talk with somebody, even maybe on camera. Like, I'd be interested to talk to somebody who actually did get it and some boosters or whatever and does regret it. And I'd like to hear why. You know what I'm saying?
I have to find someone. I know I talked to a couple of guys. One, I don't know if you met him or not, but my buddy Victor's been on here a couple of times, and he's older, so he got it, but he didn't get any.
Yeah, Victor edited my book.
Yeah, exactly. So he got it, but it was the same thing. He had concert tickets and this other stuff, and it's like you had to have your vaccine passport and bullshit card and stuff, and he got it, and now he regrets getting it, but he never got any of the boosters. and he's older. So, he was really pressured into like, man, when you're old, you're like, you've got to get it. You're going to die and stuff. And like, but he's super healthy. I mean, super healthy. And hopefully nothing ever comes of it. But it seems like for whatever reason, the vaccine seems to hurt younger, 40 and under more than it does the older people. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's going to be, the next, like I said, the next several years, see what comes of it is going to be crazy.
I know. So like when we got into that pandemic, man, I went for the longest time without even, I'm looking around the world going like, y'all are crazy. I don't even have the sniffles,
Yeah.
And then I got really sick, like scary sick for a minute. And I went and got tested, and I actually sent you a DM, and I was like, bro, I'm tested positive for COVID. And you started laughing. You're like, yeah, who hasn't, man? and I almost, I stood in the line and was going to get it. And I forgot why they turned me away. They said, well, I think it was because I was actually sick.
and that was another thing is like, if you had it and you get over it, you build up the antibodies stronger, than any vaccine they could ever give you. Joe Rogan said he almost got it. He was in line to get it. And because I don't know, it's like, I think it was something to do with, being at one of the UFC fights and they were like all of that shit. But then for whatever reason, they didn't have it or they couldn't do it. And he was like, can you come in next week? And he was like, no, I'll be home. I can fly back a couple of weeks later, get it then or something. But then afterwards, he got sick, took, the horse medicine, BS and other shit, and got better in like 3 days. And he was like, man, well, it was like, shit, how come more people ain't taking this medicine? And then everybody attacked him. And he's like, what is wrong with y'all? And then, and that's when he really, really started diving into what the hell is going on. He's like, why are you guys, persecuting me for taking medicine that helped me get better? And then they, said, call it the veterinarian medicine, the horse pills and stuff. And the way he says, he goes, well, that's like a checkers move. He goes, if you're playing chess, you don't do that because it's too easy to look up all these medicines that have been handed out for the last, 60, 50, 75 years. And like everyone uses it almost daily across the world for like malaria and other stuff, so it's like, and that's when he really started looking into it and just going, hey, what's going on? Because he had got attacked so much.
Well, I was at a meeting the other night and for lodge, and there was a bunch of guys who were not present that night, and we were making mention of them for the fact that these guys regret not being able to be here tonight. They were at another meeting and somebody tested positive, and now 9 people have COVID. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, we're still playing this game, aren't we?
Yeah, we're still doing that. Yeah, yeah. And that was Elon, because Elon got 4 tests in a row. I don't know if it was within an hour or something. I don't know, but at the same location, one came back positive, one came back negative, one came back positive, one came back negative. And he said, you guys are a joke, and left and hadn't talked about COVID since. He goes, the whole thing is that whole test was never proved anything.
Well,
it almost goes back to, like, I'm telling you, when you read that fucking book, they did the same thing with like AIDS. They had everybody test them. Boom, boom, boom. They thought it was HIV, and HIV didn't have shit to do with AIDS. And now they're starting to even think, does AIDS even exist? Is there anything even called AIDS? And this AZT medicine that Fauci was trying to push on people, saying it's the only thing that could cure you, ended up killing more people than anyone that ever got sick. And it was all about the money again, but it was all test. And it was like, test for what? He's like, you can have HIV, but that didn't have anything to do with, are you being sick? And that was the same thing. It's like, yeah, maybe you do have COVID, maybe you don't. If you do, if you're not sick, what's the big deal? It evidently doesn't affect you the way it affects some people.
Well, I got, I'll admit, when I got sick, I got kind of a little scared because all the hysteria was going on. But I mean, it was 3 days. It was 2 days of like really ill, and then third day of like, and then a week of just being tired. Yeah. And then I was fine. I've been sick since.
Yeah. And
it was the first time I've been sick in, I don't know, 3 years maybe.
Yeah. And when I got sick, when I got it, it was a headache for one day, and that was it. And I was like, shit. And then, but Blanca, you know,
did you get tested?
Yeah. And she got it. She got it bad, like real bad. And then like 3 or 4 days into it, I'm like, damn, maybe karma is getting me for talking all this shit. And you're going to sit here and die. I said, you sure you don't want to go to the emergency room? And she's like, no one has ever died of fucking COVID at home. They all die in the hospital. You trying to take me there to kill me? And it was true. It's like, and most of them died because of that stupid ass tube in their throat that they should have never had.
Right.
And then my brother-in-law got it even before all of us. And he's like freaking, obese, overweight, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes. He does dialysis every other day, several heart attacks. And I thought, well, man, it's like, tell him bye. I mean, this, if it kills anybody, it's going to kill him. And he was sick, because he seems to always be sick because of all the shit that's wrong with him. But the COVID part lasted less than 3 days and he was fine. And I was like, what the hell? And he's been tested for it and showed up positive several times. So I don't understand any of that because he has to get tested all the time because he's in and out of the hospital, and he just had triple bypass surgery and all that other crap.
It was strange. Like when we were at the height of that, I had a gal working for me in the office, and her ex-husband, they were still fairly close because they took care of children together. And one day she came in and she was all distraught because he just died in his sleep, and they said it was COVID. And I was like, what? So it's, I don't know. I mean, it's like, it's hard to pinpoint, but I mean, ultimately, going back to my point is I didn't take it and I don't regret not taking it.
Yeah. So. Not even a little bit. And now that I've read that book, I regret giving,
what book?
The real Anthony Fauci.
Oh yeah. Is it good?
Oh man. It's like, it's good, but at the same time, it's like extremely sad and
infuriating.
Makes you want to go off the rails and like attack somebody, because my daughter is like really screwed up, and she will be screwed up for the rest of her life. And when you read the book, it's like, shit, it's all because of fucking Anthony Fauci and his, vaccines and all this other bullshit. And it's not just her, it's a whole bunch of people that have this autoimmune thing and allergic to everything, and the asthma, and like this whole week she's been back and forth to the hospital probably 3 or 4 different times, getting different treatments and trying to bring down the swelling because something, she'll go allergic to something and the inside of her body will swell up and put pressure on her heart, and she carries the EpiPens, all of that shit. So it's been like that for years. And that was even like, so before COVID, when I first heard about COVID way back in like November and October, before the March that they said, hey, COVID is all this shit, I had heard about it and started and it was so supposedly like some kind of virus, had something to do with breathing and this other shit. And I was like, man, what the hell is this? And I researched it a little bit because of my daughter, and then didn't really find anything on it. And then like January, February, I started hearing more about it. So I kept looking into it, and I was like, man, because of her and all the shit that she's on and stuff. But it got me way back when it was supposed to be so deadly, everybody's dying. But then, and it was really bad for old people and fat people. It really was bad for the fat people. But all the people, all these old people, shit, I'm old, but 70, 80, 90, they're all on these cruise ships. Remember all the cruise ships were parked and nobody could get off. And a few of them did die, but the majority of them, and I mean the majority of them, 98% of them walked away. Some of them were sick. Some of them weren't even sick. Something. I'm like, dude, if you're on the freaking congested boat like that, and it's so bad for all these older people, everybody on the boat should be dead. It should be like, there's a boat just floating around with, several hundred dead people because of COVID, and none of that ever happened. So, I mean, there were red flags from the very beginning. Just, I don't know, the whole thing just pisses me off.
Yeah, man. One of the things that really kind of, really rose a red flag for me was, and I don't know the actual statistics. It was something that I just read in passing, but I do know that, most vaccines have had at least a longer amount of time in development than the COVID one. And it was like COVID came out 6 months later. They're shooting stuff in everybody's blood veins. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
It's like
Yeah.
I think it was even Joe Rogan that was saying is because like Trump put on that whole Operation Warp Speed or something, get this vaccine, we need it, and all the Democrats, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, all the Democrats were yelling, oh my God, I'll never take a vaccine from Trump. I'll never take a vaccine from Trump. 6 months later, Trump's out of office, the vaccine's here, and they're forcing people to take it. I'm like, dude, 2 months ago, you were saying you'd never take a vaccine because of Trump. And now, what the hell happened? What changed your mind?
People will do amazing things just to spite other people, man. It's crazy what the lengths they'll go through. But yeah, it's that, like I said, to me, it was just like, 6 months in development. I think, like, do I really want to put this in my body? I don't know if I do,
Yeah. Because I tell people all the time, I say, man, even if you don't read that book, The Real Anthony Fauci, because it is, I think just to listen to it is maybe 17 hours. I don't know. It's a big ass book.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, because it has all the statistics, just everything. It ain't like something he's making up. It's all just, stats and facts and figures and everything. But I said, man, if you're not going to, and I understand you're not having 15, 16, 17 hours to listen to some drawn out book that just pisses you off. I said, if nothing else, man, listen to the first 2 hours of his interview with Joe Rogan. The first 15, I said, start
what's
with
the author's name?
What's that?
What's the author's name?
RFK, Robert Jr., RFK Jr.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because that first 15 minutes of the interview with Joe Rogan, the first 15 minutes is Joe Rogan apologizing to him for just buying into everything, thinking he's this weird, wacko, crazy conspiracy thing, and he had all of these assumptions about him only because of what the mainstream media had said and other people had said. So he just, that dude's a whack job. He's a whack job, and never gave it a second thought. And so the first 15 minutes is him apologizing for that instead of doing his own research, really, looking into it. He just bought into all the bullshit that he heard other people spew until things started happening to him. And then he goes, wait a minute, what? And then friends would go, well, yeah, that RFK dude told you. And he goes, who, what? And then he starts researching everything. And ended up finding out that no, he's not as crazy as everybody tries to make him out to be.
Yeah, it was really strange, man. The whole thing was like a really bad Twilight Zone episode because it was literally about, like, what I noticed was it was this culmination of all the weak people in society finally had an opportunity to be heroes. And
it was easy to be a hero. Put a mask on and walk around and do what you were told, and you were a hero.
Exactly.
If you didn't buy into the BS and you had any kind of freedom or anything, you were the villain.
Abstract power projection.
100%. I got to get that book you're talking about. So, hey, so let me get into the business thing. Is do you think there is a most important part of your business, and if so, what is it?
The most important part of my business,
or a business for anyone,
I would say knowing your numbers, knowing how to price your own work, and just knowing the mathematics of how a business operates and how a healthy business grows. Yeah. Just knowing there's a mathematical equation that every business can use as a metric. It might vary from business to business, but it's absolutely the mathematics of your business.
Man, it's crazy that you say that because we've never talked about this. I never asked you this question, but I wrote that question down because in working with these contractors over these last couple of weeks, the first 2 weeks has just been numbers. I need to know I need to know every penny. What are you spending? How long is it taking you to do certain projects? Which projects are easier and faster? How much do certain guys? How much are you paying certain guys if they're not getting it done? How much are the materials that you're spending out? Everything. Mm-hmm. What's the profit at the end of the project? I said we've got to know these numbers, and I don't know, either one of them said something. It's like, man, you make it seem like it's the most important. And I'm like, shit. And I started thinking about it. Is it? I said,
it might be.
I think it is. I said, it's like if you don't know your numbers, you don't even know what you can spend on marketing. It's like, because I was telling them, Dan Kennedy says, in the end or at the end of it is like he who can afford to spend the most money to acquire a new client wins. And
Yeah.
And then I told him it is sometimes it's for contractors, but not. But you still need to think about it. Is what's the lifetime value of a client? Usually for contractors, we get in and out and we're done. They may refer you. You may do something again for them 3 or 4 years later down the road. Something, it's not like a doctor or a dentist or a restaurant who sees the same client over and over again. So you'll get a lot. Like I'm helping a couple of chiropractors, and so the lifetime value of a client for them is totally different than it would be for a contractor, because they're seeing this person, weekly and for who knows, forever maybe. So you can spend more money to acquire one client. But then if you know your numbers, and if you're building a room addition or a kitchen remodel or a full-on brand new build, $200,000, $300,000 project, you can spend $5, $6, $7 grand to get a client. But if you don't know those numbers, it's hard to know if you're spending too much on marketing, or is it even worth spending money for? Like some of these dudes doing carpet cleaning, and they want to go in for $99 and clean your bedroom. And the whole scam is they need to get in so they can upsell you, to do the whole house, or you need a different disinfectant or something. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I wouldn't want to be in that business. I hate that kind of shit, but that's their business model. And I'm like, and that's the whole thing, is like, can you spend $20, $30 to get a $40 to get a project if you're only charging $99 to clean a room? And those numbers don't add up to me. And then it's just high pressure sales and pissing people off, and you're not getting all of it. So I hate it. But that was the same thing I came up with, is numbers. If there's one thing, the most important part of a business, it would be the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, and that's the thing too. And a couple things about that, especially, it's a pet peeve of mine that I see regularly amongst business coaches, many business coaches. A lot of these guys that you send me videos of, the new CRM for construction company owners. It's going to boost your revenue 3x, right? Everyone's always concerned about what their revenue is, man. It's like, it's always this focus on revenue. Yeah. And I get cash flow is important, but at the end of the day, for me, the most important thing has always been like, well, how much of that revenue am I keeping?
And I'm making these guys write that shit down right now.
Man, and here's the thing, man, because I run project managers, and I have them putting together proposals for my jobs. And when I tell them, like, okay, well, they ask, well, what markup are we putting on it, right? Well, you're going to put a 67% markup on it. And they're like, you can't charge 67%. I'm like, why? That's insane. That's highway robbery. I'm like, well, do you understand that that's not profit? And I think that I would say that, a good 80 to 90% of people out there who not even just contractors do not really understand the difference between the markup and the profit.
Yeah.
And that's a huge one, man. Once you understand that, and then once you understand what your overhead is and how to actually charge, per man hour for each employee, it's like, yeah, you're paying this guy $25 an hour, but at the end of the day, after it's all said and done, you're actually paying out $35 an hour, right? Yeah. And people don't understand that. It's like, then you have to take into account, well, that person's not perfect. They're going to make mistakes, and you're going to have to, if you're not charging more than that, you're going to start losing money. And like, even when I first started, I'm thinking, I'm going to charge $25 an hour. I'm going to make $50,000 a year, and I'm going to do it on my own terms. Life's going to be great. And then the tax season came around, and I was like, holy shit, I just lost a ton of money. This isn't working. What? Nope. That don't make sense, right?
Yeah.
And so,
that's the whole thing. Like, so even if you wanted to pay yourself $25 an hour, like, thank God you don't. But if you did, it's like, okay, but what about the all the taxes that you have to pay on top of that, the FICA, the insurance, all this other stuff that a business has to pay. So now that $25 ain't $25. It's like you said, it's $32, $33.
Well, what you're taking home after it's all said and done is actually negative on the business end. If you're an owner operator charging for like even $35 an hour for your labor, you are going bankrupt and you just don't even know it yet.
And that's what I tell guys. It's like, dude, it's not your fucking money. The money belongs to the company. So if you're charging if you charge you $25 an hour, but the company needs to be charging $25 an hour also. So, or if it's 35 an hour, the company needs 35 an hour. What do you mean the company? I was like, bitch, it's a fucking company. The company has to pay you. The company needs to be making money. The company has a whole, it's like, that's how you grow. So now you're at $70 an hour. We're like, oh my God. It's like, I said, and that ain't even fucking enough. And, but no one knows their numbers. And I'm a couple of the guys are on here right now watching and they know, because that's, we've been in it like 3 weeks right now, I think. And all we talk about is numbers, write it down. How much you're spending? Where's every penny going? What's the profit? How you doing? It's like all of it. Because I told them by the end of 3 months, they will know. They'll know every project that they're doing, how much profit is at the end of that project. And they'll know which projects they want to start really focusing on and just get it better so they can make more profit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the other thing too is like, it's like that we've talked about that before, the age-old question of how much y'all charging for this, how much you charging for that, right? I mean, a lot of guys don't understand the difference between markup and net profit or even gross profit. They don't understand even how to calculate their own overhead, right? And if you're watching this and you don't know already, your overhead is everything you have to pay before you produce a product or provide a service. That means everything you have to pay just to keep the lights on. You need to charge more than that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
67% markup. You can't charge that. Well, shit, bro. I can't afford not to charge that.
Yeah. Let me answer this Dr. J dude, 303. He says he's a carpet cleaner.
Yeah. How much does it take to make 10K a month?
He said, how much Google ad spend should I spend to make 10K a month?
Right. How good of salesman are you? That's my question. Like you could get 10K, you can get 10K a month worth of leads, but if you can't close them for shit, you're assed out, bud.
Yeah, and that's that whole dominate your trade thing. Is the YouTube, the videos, the video testimonials, people seeing you, all of that stuff, all of it with the Google ads. But then you're tracking the Google ads. You gotta, it's going to take 3 to 6 months to see how much you're spending, and then you got to watch the Google ads because you got to narrow it down to the click-through rate, the CTR, and then the cost per click. And then the more content you have on the internet, the less Google is going to charge you per click. And I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. So you're always scaling it down, the negative keywords, so that your ads don't show up in front of the wrong people. And then when they do click, where the fuck are they going? I was arguing with this dude just a couple of days ago, and I was like, no, tell me the number one thing about Google ads. And he couldn't, and they end up deleting me and shit. I was like, it's the number one thing with Google ads is where the fuck do they go when they click? I mean, because once you show up in front of them, and Google will put you in front of people because Google wants people to click that ad, because that's how Google makes money. Google only makes money after they click your ad, not before any of that. So the main thing is when they click that ad, where are they going? What are they going to see? All of that. And then there's so you got to show up in front of the right people so that people aren't clicking their ad, thinking they're going somewhere else, thinking something, all of that. I mean, so there goes a lot. So you have to track those numbers, and then you'll realize, how much you end up spending, to get that one job that's going to give you the $300 profit, $500 profit, all of that. It's something that you have to have money to figure it out, I guess. But there's so much shit you need to do before you run ads. And like you've said before, you appreciate me and respect me because I'll tell people, no, I'm not running your fucking ads. You don't have anywhere to send them. You're going to pay me money. You're going to pay Google money. You ain't going to get shit for it. And then you're going to be mad at me.
Yeah, you're going to blame me. Well, see, and that's the other thing too. I mean, ultimately, I guess what you're really driving at, the best way to I just want to summarize what you're saying is like the real answer to Dr. J's question is the least amount possible. That's how much you should spend to make 10K a month. Right. Yeah. But realistically, this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about. How much to make 10K a month? It's like there's three entities here making money, right? First of all, your company brings in money right? That money your company brings in as revenue. How much money your company keeps? Well, that's profit, right? There's a difference between gross profit and net profit, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But ultimately, and then you, the owner, as an employee of your company, you get to keep a percentage of what your company makes, right? So let's refine your question, Dr. J303. How much money is 10K a month? Is that revenue for the company? Is that what the company's keeping? Is that what you're taking home?
Exactly.
Right? These are all numbers you have to understand before you can really,
because
before anybody can even answer that question for you.
Yeah,
right?
and that's like these guys that are watching, they're going through the program right now. That's the biggest thing I'm beating into their head is when the homeowners give you money and checks and deposits and all this other shit. It is not your money. The money belongs to the fucking company. Yeah, you may own the company, but that's a whole, like you said, that's a different conversation for a different day. Every penny that comes in belongs to the company, and the company pays you. So are you asking how much money you need to generate so that the company can pay you 10K or, all of that. It's crazy. And
because if your company's generating 10K in revenue, but you're spending 5K in overhead to keep the lights on and to get everything and to produce the product or the service, now your company has profited $5,000, right? Yeah. How much of that are you keeping? Are you taking all the money out of the company and keeping it for yourself? Well, if so, that's selfish and it's not a good way to grow your business, right?
I'm raising hands because I did it for years. I tell these guys, I say, dude, again, I'm not fucking guessing. I didn't watch a YouTube video yesterday and I'm trying to figure this out. I'm telling you because I did it. I was like, I grew up extremely poor. I'm getting checks from homeowners and I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm rich. And then like 60 days later you're getting an invoice from the supply house and you're like, oh God, I don't even have money to pay the supplies. Where'd that money go? Because you're spending all the money thinking it's yours. It ain't your money.
Yep.
Yeah. So it is. You got to know the numbers. Guy asked me why I say 3 to 5 years to build a business. And I say any business across the board, it never fucking changes. And it almost takes 3 years, even though you think you're a trade, a painter, whatever it is. And so you start your own business because you used to work for somebody, now you don't. It still takes you 3 years to really figure out, are you an interior painter, an exterior painter? Are you doing it all? Are you doing stucco? Are you doing this? Are you doing the concrete, garages? Is that part of it? It's like, it takes about 3 years just to even figure out how to get the phone to ring and like figure out the numbers and like, how do you make 10 grand in a month and how much ad spend do you need to make that kind of it takes about, really, honestly, if you're tracking it daily, it takes about 3 years to start really figuring that shit out. And then another 2 years to really fine tune it. So if you can make it, and that's why they say most businesses fail within the first 5 years, because they're not doing any of this shit. They're just, trying to go to work, trying to get some money, trying to pay the bills, trying to this, and they do it and they struggle for 3-4 years to where by the fifth year they're in debt, borrowing money to try to keep the lights on, to where the wife has finally said, hey man, I really appreciate you, honey, but you got to go get a job. We can't keep doing this. And that's why
you got to get a job that actually pays. Yeah. Business owners going into it with the mindset of an employee. Yeah.
Which brings us really full circle to what you said earlier before we even went live, to that misconception about the mindset of, how did you say it? Business owner versus
how do you go from owner operator to business owner?
Yeah.
And ultimately a lot of it, like right now. So, Ethan and I, you and I have talked about Ethan. We have a marketing agency right now as well. And, because we started out in-house doing our own marketing, and then it just was the next logical step, order of operations. Well, we'll just offer what we do for everyone else. Right.
Yeah.
But the key thing to that, right, is like right now we've got this client of ours, and, his goal is to get out of the truck, be out of the field, running the business. Right. And ultimately one of the key aspects of that is learning these numbers, and then, figuring out how to, because I think the simple answer from going from owner operator to business owner is as simple as a mind change, right? You're changing your paradigm and your thought process. It's like, okay, my job is no longer to go out and dig the ditches, to bang the nails, to sand the floors. That's not my job anymore. My job is to go out and get more jobs for my employees because I have just created a platform of opportunity for other people. That's what a business does, right? A healthy business provides those opportunities for other people. And if you're still out there banging nails and wearing tool bags, man, you're selfish. You're selfish and you're egotistical, and you need to have an introspective moment with yourself. And your moment's coming. You might think, well, I'm awesome and nobody can do it better than me. But I'm here to tell you, you're about to be humbled. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but it's coming.
Yeah.
And you're going to be standing in front of that mirror going, why does my business suck? And the guy in the mirror is going to say, because you suck and you need to quit sucking.
Yeah.
Right?
One of the guys that's in the program is doing really good. And I even told the other ones, I said, this dude Gabe's going to do a lot better than everyone in this group. And it's all because he's not doing any of the work. He's just doing the business. And the only reason he's doing the business is because, I don't know, a year ago, 6 months, 8 months ago, he got hurt and couldn't work and had to let guys go and do the work and had to find someone to go finish projects that he already had on the books. And when he got better, he was like, well, shit, I'm just going to keep doing this and looked me up. Let's keep going at it. I tell you too, is it's the mindset of, you'll hear guys, especially, the owner operator dude is like, I can't afford to run ads. I can't afford to market. I can't afford to pay other employees. And I'm like, dude, you're not paying anything. You're giving Google money. You're giving Google $2,000 because Google is going to give you $10,000. You're paying some dude $35 an hour because he's going to go out and bring you back $135 an hour. So you want a whole bunch of those little people running out there and you got, like, I'm American Indian, so I can say it, but you want a whole bunch of little Indians running out, bringing back some money, bringing back
You're so politically regressive, Brian.
Yeah. It's like, they're not costing you shit. If they're costing you something, you need to fire them.
Well, and that's the thing, man, right there. I mean, ultimately, a lot of guys will say, well, I can't hire the right employees and I can't afford marketing, and so that's why, I'm in this spot and it really sucks. And no, it's like, no, you're in this spot and it really sucks because you won't spend money on marketing. You won't spend money on employees. Right. And it's like, the same thing is like, I can't get a woman and I'm depressed, so I can't go to the gym. Like, no, you can't get a woman and you're depressed because you don't go to the gym.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God. Man. And I took some screenshots, I think, but he's a Facebook buddy. I've talked to him for about 2 years, maybe a little bit longer. And, because I seen he had some dude trying to do his website and do his Google ads. And I reached out to him through direct message and told him, hey man, that guy don't know what he's doing. Oh yeah, he's just this. I'm like, all right, I'm telling you, he doesn't like. And then like 6 months later, he's like, man, I got my Google business got suspended. They won't let me run ads. I was like, dude, I told you, he didn't know what he was fucking doing. He's like, and then I said, he said, can you help me? And I was like, nah, not really. It's kind of like the fucking homeowner that hires the other people, after you give them a bid. It's like, nah, I ain't doing that shit.
Yeah,
but I like the kid.
I'm not down with it.
Yeah, but I like the kid because he's a hard worker and stuff. And he's like, no. So he ends up hiring some other guy, and he's still not doing what he should be doing. And then he hires this other dude, and I know this other guy because I've had to reach out to this other dude who had some contractors under contract to run Facebook ads for him and stuff. And I knew kind of know the guy a little bit because we went back and forth on Facebook. And finally, one of these other contractors said, for whatever reason, we're like, oh, I'm in contract. I got to pay him. I was like, dude, you ain't getting shit for it. How many more months are you going to keep giving him $3,000 to get absolutely nothing for it? You're losing jobs. I called him up and said, hey, dude, I said, you're going to let so-and-so out of the contract. I said, I ain't asking you to give him a refund. You should. But hey, there's a sucker born. He deserves it. I warned him. He gave you the money. Keep the money. I said, but don't run his credit card again. Let him out of the fucking contract. Because contractors work. Because all these marketing gurus, wannabes, none of them have ever owned a fucking job, period. They read some Russell Brunson books and watched some YouTube videos, and now they're a digital marketer expert, and fucking contractors are easy fucking pickings. And
so they're desperate.
Yeah. And it frustrates me because like you, we fucking nailed, and we've hit our fingers enough times with a fucking hammer. We've been on our knees enough times. We've climbed enough ladders. All of that shit is where we work way too fucking hard to give our money away to some dumbass that doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on. But they trick these guys into giving them money, and so another one. He bought into something and like door to door knocking and shit. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. It's like, you might as well be at the end of the fucking street with a cardboard sign begging for fucking money. Man, this works. I said, if it was the best form of marketing, there would be a line of salespeople outside every fucking door, outside of every house. Every day would look like Halloween. It would be nothing but sales guys trick-or-treating because it works so much. I said, doesn't
trick-or-treat.
There'd be a line of people. Hey, I'm ready to sign you up too. I'm ready to sign you up. It's like, I said, I really hate it because I can't stand when they knock on my fucking door and I'm trying to eat dinner. I said, does it work? Yeah, but the return on investment is about 2%, usually a little bit less. I said, and you don't have any of the other shit going for you that you need, dude. I said, it's like, you knock on the door, you leave a flyer, or you mail out a flyer, you do a door hanger, you put it on that doorknob thing, or you're knocking on doors and you're trying to, because the door knocker is trying to set up an appointment for a sales guy to come over, because it ain't usually the sales guy that is doing the door knocking. He's too fucking good. He's a salesman. He just needs someone to set up appointments. So you're trying to knock on doors and set up appointments and stuff. I said, all of that stuff. So you set up an appointment, you leave a door flyer, you leave a door hanger, you even mail out door flyers. You do the mailers, you do all of that shit. I said, the first thing homeowners do 99.9% of the fucking time, as soon as that guy leaves, as soon as they get home, if they're interested in that door hanger for whatever it is, they go to fucking Google and research you. I said, and you don't have anything on internet. You don't have any of the shit that I've been telling you to do for the last 2 years. You don't have a YouTube channel. You don't have videos. You don't have video testimonials. You don't have video content. You don't have anything. I said, so they're going to go, if they are interested in whatever service you're fucking trying to get them to do, they're going to go to the internet, and someone like me is going to steal them. It's like, oh, now that they're interested, they're going to go there and they're going to see my Google ad. They're going to see me on Google Maps. They're going to see my YouTube videos. I said, Google, number one search engine by far. Number two is YouTube, and you're fucking losing it, both of them. So before you go out and do all of this other shit, do the stuff that you should be doing first. It's like building a fucking house. You got to do the fucking foundation before you can start building the frame. It's crazy. And so I'm responding, and everybody thinks I'm a dick. I'm like, dude, how am I a dick? I'm just trying to fucking save this guy. I've fucking watched him do this shit for 2 years. And so I'm a bad guy because I'm not like everybody else going, oh man, good for you, good for you. It's like the dudes that post a picture of their billboard and all of their friends go, oh my God, man, that's cool, that's cool. I'm like, the fuck you wasted money on that for, dude? Again, they see the billboard, they're going to go to Google and research you. You don't have shit on the internet. Dude, build the foundation first. And then if you're spending all of your money on and you still need leads and you're doing all the right stuff first and you want to start venturing out. But man, there's certain things that you have to do fucking first. And one is like, know the numbers, that part of it. Yeah. But most of the people who want to talk shit to me, I click on their profile and we help contractors triple their income, and we've set leads, and we have AIs, and we have automation systems that can get you the pre-sold leads. And I'm like, so I'm really talking shit to them. I'm taking screenshots of their fucking Facebook page and posting them, going, dude, give me 5 fucking names, 5 names of contractors that you've helped. Oh, it's all here. And I'm like, give me the fucking names. No, you don't understand. I don't need to prove myself to you. I'll say, okay, so you don't have fucking names, right? And I feel like part of me is a bully, but I feel like these contractors are kids in elementary school, and they're behind the fence, and I'm like running back and forth, dragging my stick across the fence, going, dude, stop. It's like I'm trying to warn them and protect them, and they're inside this fence listening to all these dumbasses who don't have a fucking clue. And I'm like, well, this dude said this and this. I was like, the dude's never built a fucking business. Of course he's going to say that. He wants you to give him money, man. Fucking do your research. I did the videos like, if you get taken advantage of, you deserve it. 100%, you fucking deserve it. Stop giving people money without researching shit. Like, don't listen to what they said. And it's and my wife is like, you need to relax. I'm like, I said I do. I said, but at the same time, it's kind of fun for me. It's like, I don't know. It's like, and I'm like, dude, but put up or shut up. But either way, what have you done?
Well, I'll tell you a little story about door knocking and all that stuff. So, I mean, for the most part, most places are going to require you to have a door-to-door sales license anyways. But so what I do to get around that, and so it's funny, a little story that happened just the other day. I've got a new project manager on this project, and he's a young kid, but he's really smart. He's really driven. Does a good job. And I told him, I gave him a bunch of flyers. I said, I want you to go around to every house in the neighborhood for a 3-block radius, right? And I said, you're going to go to their door, and if you get a sale off of this, I'll triple the commission for you, okay? I said, but don't go there to sell. Go up there, give them your flyer, your business card, and say, my name's Tristan. I'm not here to sell you anything. I just want to let you know we're in the neighborhood doing work on your neighbor's house. Mr. Joe Schmo, maybe you know him? Okay, great. Yeah, he's a great guy. Just want to let you know if you have any problems with our teams, any trash flows in over to your yard, I want you to let me know immediately. We'll take good care of you right away.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the first couple doors, this lady came out. She's like, "What? What do you want?" And he was like, he didn't know how to deal with it, right? And if you're not a salesperson, you don't know how to overcome that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I was like, we had another guy who was our subcontractor. He wanted to go door to door with us to see how we did it.
Yeah.
And we got done with it. I was like telling him, I was like, listen, man, when somebody comes at you like that, you got to know how to overcome that. And so I said, here, this is how you do it. Right. And he started smiling back. I was like, so when somebody acts like that, do you just smile at them?
Yeah.
And they'll start smiling back. And then you can just tell them, like, hey, I'm not here to sell you anything.
Yeah. Alex Ramosi. I'm Alex Ramosi, and I have nothing to sell you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just here. If you have any problems, we're here. If you have problems with us, let us know. We'll take care of you.
Yeah, 100%.
Ultimately, that's going to sell more jobs than, hey, give me your money. Give me your money.
Yeah, 100%. Especially you're giving them a flyer. And I even told the guys, I said, dude, you're doing all this other shit. I said, bitch, you ain't even got a fucking book to give them. What you mean a book to give them? I always pull out the Anthony's book. I said, show it to someone's house and say, hey, man, we're in the neighborhood. We're doing it. If they're bugging you, let us know. If they're starting too early, jackhammer, or waiting, dust, dirt, blaze over. But if you are interested in remodeling, this will help you out.
Yeah.
I said, or how about when they research you, man, they get the flyer. I was like, all that shit is like, what are you talking about, the internet, man? I'm doing it. I was like, dude, you don't even show up in the fucking top 10 of Google Maps. God damn.
I know,
and that's
man.
free. I said, you don't have a YouTube channel, and that's free. I said, you don't even have a book that they can get online, and that could be free. It fucking kills me. He goes, well, the door-to-door sales is free. He's using some service that's like $90 or $100. It's like a CRM service that keeps track of where the people have been. I said, damn, bitch, you put pins in a map. I said, don't get me started. I said, okay, so $90 is not a lot of money a month. I said, but then he's paying a really high commission to the dude if he can close anything or sell it. I said, that money, half of that money could have been spent on, ranking your Google business better, or YouTube, or ads, or Google ads, or learning how to run proper Facebook ads, brand building.
Capturing prospects that are actually somewhat pre-qualified, who are interested in your service or product already. And that's, if you can invest more money into capturing pre-qualified leads that you own instead of Angie's list or whatever, right?
Yes.
That's where your money is going to be best spent, regardless of even if it's $90 a month or nothing.
Yeah. Because people are like, what do you got against Facebook ads? I was like, I don't really. I was like, I don't like them because, like, people are at work and they're looking for something to do because they're bored as hell and they're on Facebook, and you're running ads, and Karen is at work and scrolling on Facebook, and your ad pops up. So she starts filling out the form, and you got this fucking robot bot that's asking questions and answering questions, and she's bored to death anyway. And there's tens of thousands of those people, and they're all filling out your form, and you're like, oh my God, Facebook is the best thing in the world. And you talk to 50 people, you get 50 so-called leads that turn out to be absolutely fucking nothing. And you're wondering, what? And they're like, dude, they weren't interested anyway. They're sitting at fucking work, bored to death, looking, and filling out forms, looking for something to do because, they're, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely gems to be mined out of
Yeah.
all of that, but I mean, the ROI, it goes back to how much should I spend in ad spend to get $10,000 a month. The answer is simple: the least amount possible.
Yeah. And then so the guy's talking shit. He goes, "Well, you're just saying that because you don't know shit about Facebook." And I'm like, "Bitch, I got 16 hours." Over 16 hours of Facebook marketing and Facebook training alone. And I wrote the fucking book.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I wrote the book, Do Facebook Ads Work? Why so many contractors lose money with Facebook ads and get discouraged. And in the book, I give you 20 fucking examples of posts that contractors should be making so that they make an impact and start building a brand. I was like, you don't know shit because you never did anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like going to a grocery store, man. It's like you go to a grocery store and you need the staples. You need some meat, you need some protein, you need some fiber, you need some vegetables, right? But it's also good to have some ice cream and some cookies.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go into the grocery store and spend all the majority of my money on ice cream and cookies. I'm going to go get these staples first, right? And if I have some money left over for ice cream and cookies, I'll spend some money on Facebook ads or some door-to-door bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you get the staples first. You build the foundation first.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, because that kills me. I'm like, dude, it's like you don't even have a fucking YouTube channel. It's free. It's I mean, and I mean that literally is free because you already have a freaking phone, the best camera known to man in the last freaking 25 years. So
is this guy coming on the podcast? You mentioned
one of them. I'm trying, like one of the guys who was like, I went to his website and it's he's got this system of and I was like, dude, I said, then come to the fucking podcast, plead your case. I said, well, I'll either promote you or expose you, either way. Right. So it's and I'm happy to promote you. Like those guys we had on before, like some of the stuff that they're doing is I believe in, and like I don't think as a contractor I wouldn't do it because you almost end up just being partners with them or working for them. And if that's the case, just go get a fucking job. But because they're doing everything for you. But if that's what you want, good for you. Go at, have at it. But these guys who try to sell contractors on everything can be automated and AI and CRMs and you don't have to do anything. I'm like, dude, it ain't that kind of fucking world. And if you want me to lie to you and tell you that to get you to give me money, ain't going to happen. I'm like, I have nothing to fucking sell you. Everything I can teach you is on YouTube for free. Just go fucking learn it. If you want me to do it, then I got to charge you.
If you're looking at hiring somebody, like you said earlier, man, do a little research on this person. And if their first real business is teaching other people about how to build businesses, you might want to find somebody else. Yeah. That's just my thought on it. So.
Yeah. And again, and they're like, oh, well, I did my company and we generated this much revenue, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, yeah, but again, how much of that was profit? And why aren't you still doing it? Why aren't you franchising it? Why aren't you opening up other locations? Why did you get out of it? Like we know a couple of contractors who were contractors, but now all they do is train contractors how to be business guys because they couldn't succeed at it. They failed. But they get to easily tell contractors, what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, man, that's a freaking 4 o'clock right now. It's a freaking crazy quick hour.
Yeah.
What's going on the rest of the week, brother? I know, like, give us some of your rundown. Like, daughter's doing a project, and I went over and did some videos just for this group specifically. It's like I got the videos already there, but I say, hey, I'll go over here. I'll show you right now. Like I'll do it live. You can see how I talk to the homeowner, how I walk in, all that crap. Just to lead by example, but so I'm doing some of that. Got some other shit going on, but what's some of the struggles you've had to overcome this week or last week? We weren't even here last week.
I would say the biggest struggle that I always have to overcome is communication. And it's like everybody always hears what they want to hear. And you have to constantly work on communicating with people in a way that is easily understandable and in a way that allows them to maintain their dignity. And sometimes you just want to grab people and be like, you're so stupid, but you can't really do that. But yeah, man, it's for me, the biggest thing is always communication. It's like, you tell people, it's like, hey, this thing that we're going to do is white. It's white because it needs to be white, because if it's not white, it's going to be black. And we can't have it black, because if it's black, it won't be white. Make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, great. Yeah. So sign right here that says you agree that we're going to do this white. Okay, yeah, great. And the very next day, like, you said black.
Yeah.
God, man. That's always the biggest thing I overcome. I mean, for me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it doesn't change. I give these guys a pre, because I've always said, like, you almost want to have two estimates, and it shouldn't be fucking. I don't even like the word estimates. It's like, I don't know. If your estimate means you're guessing, are you fucking guessing, or do you know what's going to cost? There are some things, like if you open up a wall, yeah, some things are going to happen, and that's where that communication comes in big time. Also, it's like, look, man, I'm going to take this floor up. I'm going to open up this wall. This could happen, and if this happens, here's how we're going to have to handle it. And it's going to be, so do you want to open up the wall? Do you, because I'll have homeowners, like with the hardwood flooring, I'll have homeowners like buy a house and they're going to move a wall, or they're going to do this, or they're going to move out a bookcase or something. I'll say, whoa. But I said, I don't even need to be over there. I said, you didn't even send me no pictures. This is our first conversation going back and forth. I said, before you do that, does your floor still exist? What do you mean? I said, well, if you start moving walls, you start moving furniture and wall units and everything, and your floor has to be filled in somewhere because there wasn't wood underneath it. I said, if your wood doesn't exist, what are you going to do? I said, exactly. I said, these are questions that you need to be asking yourself before you start, just going in there and knocking shit out and doing things. I said, so you don't even know what kind of wood you have, all of that stuff. But so it's always something. It's always educating the homeowner of what's going to happen, and worst case scenario. But even then, it's like you said, it's like you can talk to them and tell them over and over again, but I don't know if they hear you, or they just want to say yes to get you going and then deal with the argument later.
Well, that's something too that's very similar to what you go through in that regard, that I kind of encounter as a general contractor. Is people will call me up and, they always want an estimate. Come out to my barren plot of land that I haven't even purchased yet and give me an estimate. And the conversation is basically like, well, what am I giving you an estimate on? Yeah. And well, you're the contractor, you should know. Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose I should know, but I don't. So we're gonna have to, refine this conversation a little bit. And so, it's like, if people don't understand, it's like, even just something as simple as a kitchen remodel. There's 200 decisions in a kitchen alone. It's like each one of them is going to play effect on how much it's going to cost. And if we haven't made those decisions yet, then it's like, well, here's your estimate. $80,000. I don't know. Be anywhere from $80,000 to $800,000. What do you really want in that kitchen?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, that's what I told these guys. I said, so you almost need, now I've said it forever, is like, you need two estimates. You need the estimate that you give the homeowner, and the more detailed that can be, the better it's going to be. So it cuts down on any of the bullshit. They're signing off on every little thing, so they know. But then you need your estimate of what you think it's going to be. You're going to do this. And I give them this pre-work order that they should do for themselves, because most of them don't even have employees. If you have employees, even better. And if you're doing subs, you should get this pre-work order from your subs, meaning like, how long is the job going to take? And so as a contractor, most of these guys don't know their numbers, and they don't know all of that crap. So it really starts with, we're going to start the job Monday. The job's going to be finished Thursday. On Monday, we're going to get there at 7:00. We're going to do this, this, and this. We're going to have this much done by lunchtime. At the end of the day, by the end of the first day, Monday, we'll have this much done. Tuesday, we'll do this. I'm going to use this many rolls of tape, this much plastic, this many gallons of that. So all that, the more detailed you can be, writing it out in advance, the better. And then when the job is finished, you write it out again. Here's what I thought we were going to do Monday. Here's what we really got done. Here's what took this long. Here we won't. So, and
how can we improve?
If you do 5 to 10 projects like that, you're going to start figuring out some shit. You're going to know what material and how much material and what kind of problems. And most of the time, guys don't know those things. And that's how you really start figuring out numbers. That's how you really start figuring out systems that get things done a lot faster. You figure out systems that you don't keep having the same fucking problem over and over again. Oh man, we showed up, the dude poured into the driveway, and now this is the 5th time this month the homeowners complained about oil leaks. don't you think he's dripping from the truck onto the driveway? It's like, dude, that should have been, that should have happened once.
Yeah.
And, all of that kind of stuff. You knocked over a can of paint thinner, you did this or whatever, like, or the tile or the base was all the shit. When you go into someone's house, things that they never noticed were already there. I'm like, dude, I'm doing videos all the fucking time. And when there's a tile chipped somewhere or there's a marking on the wall, that's in my video. So when the homeowner comes back and says, hey, your guys did this, I'm like, no, unfortunately, it's in the video before my guys even showed up. It's that tile was already broke. That mark was already on the wall, this and that, all of that stuff. And again, when the homeowner brings that to your attention and you go, I don't know. Now you don't know. So you are responsible, because if you don't know, then you don't know. So that should happen once, so you look for all that kind of things. So those are like, and that's again goes to what you said. Like the whole theme of today is how do you go from owner operator to freaking business owner? And it's all these little things that is why I say it takes 3 to 5 years to really form a good business that starts really generating a profit that can pay you a nice chunk of change and that you can really grow on.
Well, I would say I would like to leave this on a very simple mathematical equation and it's very introductory. A lot of business owners, are going to listen to what I'm about to say, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, duh. I mean, of course, like, how can you not know this stuff? But it amazes me still to this day, never ceases to amaze me how many, not even contractors, but business owners don't understand this. Right. And so the simple basic premise of mathematics of your business is if you look at what it costs you to keep your doors open before you produce a service or produce a product or provide a service. Let's say that number is $20,000, right? And you have one employee. That means on a 40-hour week, you have $120, 120 hours in a month to produce a product or provide a service. And if your overhead is $20,000 a month just to keep the lights on, that means that you have to charge no less than $166 an hour just to break even. And the cool thing about this mathematics is that if you have 2 employees, that's $83 an hour. Okay. But at 2 employees, you're producing 4 times the work. Right. And that's what you don't really understand. And then there comes a certain point where it's like, depending on your overhead versus what you're charging, and it's usually right around 4 employees that you can start charging less for your work and making more money.
Yeah.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to find out what your overhead is. You have to break it down by your billable man hours by per employee. And you have to charge more than that per hour to just break even. Yeah. So that's the simple. And I can put up a whiteboard and we can go through a whole clinic about all that, but maybe another time. So.
And that's the whole thing is like, that's what I say is like, man, get your system so freaking tight that you can do your trade, 30% faster than your competition, but you do it so well, you can charge 30% more than your competition and still get the job. And that just doesn't happen overnight. But before we get out of here, let me ask you this real quick. Because you used to be the dude hanging the doors and nailing in the nails. And then you had a couple of helpers with you and all that stuff. But now as your business has grown, you pretty much sub everything out. And I've got some contractors that are, some already have 1 or 2 subs part-time. They have some workers, and they go kind of back and forth. What's the big advantage for having in-house employees versus everything subs?
So that's kind of so I would say it like this: like if you're a specialized trade, for like example, if you're doing hardwood floors, this might not be the best solution for you, right? As a general contractor, however, so like for example, Brian, you refinish floors. That's all you do. You don't maintain the floors. You come in, you refinish them, and you're in and out. That's the only thing you do, right? You don't replace the floors. You don't move the walls. You come in and you only do hardwood floors and refinish them, right? And that's all you do. You don't come in and you don't do electrical, right? That's an electrician. They specialize in only electrical. That's all they do. They don't do hardwood floors, right?
Yeah.
So I had to look at my business as a general contractor and say, well, what the hell do I really specialize in, right?
Yeah.
Because on any given job, I'll have anywhere from 20 to 30 trades on a job. And so what am I specializing in? Well, ideally, I'm specializing in contracting and the management of the job. That's what I'm specializing in. So for me, it makes sense to not have to, because like I don't know anything about HVAC, electrical, or plumbing, for example, and I'm not licensed for those things. I have to hire somebody to do those things anyways.
Yeah.
And the more I run into, like I tried having a team of carpenters that would come in and do a certain scope of the work. They were always coming in, they were showing up late and messing things up. And so like, hey boss, I've been here every day this week, fucked up everything I touched, but go ahead and pay me. Right.
Yeah.
So when you're a GC and you're doing, I would say if you are covering more than 4 scopes of work, maybe 5 or 6, that's when I would suggest subcontracting those scopes out. Right. Because you can hold people accountable through contracts. Like, this is what we agreed on. If you don't do it and you don't do it to this certain standard, I'm not going to pay you, and then I will replace you. Right.
Yeah.
And so it allows me more control over costs. It allows me more than even so cost. It allows me control over the schedule, right?
Yeah.
Because then I can work with my subcontractors and be like, hey, this is what I had for timeline. Tell me how much it's going to take you. Well, it's going to take me 7 days. Okay, I'm going to give you 9 days, but at the 10th day, if you don't have things done, I'm going to start charging you $300 a day.
Yeah.
Right. And so that it kind of is what allows me to keep things on track, time-wise, and on budget as well as a general contractor.
And for us, we have both. We got some in-house employees that are great, and just because we've trained them and all the other crap, so we don't have the headaches of the I'm not showing up today or late or this, or when we say it has to be done, because I know how much they can get done in a day and how much when the job's going to be all that. But we have several contractors too, subcontractors that I really, can trust. And so I don't make as much profit on them, but there's a lot less freaking babysitting and headaches and any of the other stuff. I can just give the address and know it's done. It's taken care of 100%. I ain't gonna be following up on anything, any of that stuff. And is this, and in that way, it's like I only have to concentrate on, keeping 2 full-time crews busy, and then all the overflow I can give to 2 or 3 different, subcontractors. Sometimes I just sell the leads to these guys because we go through so many leads. It's like, I'm only looking for certain types of jobs, certain sizes of jobs. And I tell guys, it's like, dude, you can't do that right now. You're not where I'm at in business. And I think that's where a lot of these guys listen to these other dudes in there. And I don't know if these trade organizations help contractors or hurt them. And when I say trade organizations, like mine is National Wood Flooring Association, I know they're supposed to help guys, but so it's you follow the money and it's they end up like for the products and the machinery and the other stuff, and they don't teach the business part enough. And now I'm finding that with all these other trades who have organizations like that. I'm looking at some of the people that they're promoting and some of the things that they're having contractors do, and I'm like, God damn, you're not helping these guys at all. Are you Are you just as bad as the one that I know of in my industry? So I'm up in the air with those dudes.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately it's, there's a lot to be said for, I think a lot of that stuff is all about networking. And I think that a lot of business coaches have building, a network of people, right? and it becomes a bit of a BNI type situation, which is fine. I mean, there's a lot of business coaches out there who I would not pay money to, but I see value in the network that they're putting together. But you know what? I mean, you don't have to pay somebody $6,000 a month to be a part of a network, right? Or even $1,000. You can go to the Chamber of Commerce. And spend $250 a year and have access to all kinds of people who have the same mindset as you do, as far as we're here to build a business. We're not just, chucks and trucks. We're, people who are involved themselves in those circles tend to be a higher demographic of person.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because that was one of the assignments with these guys is each of them have to join at least one Chamber of Commerce. 2 of them, 3 of them if they can. And maybe
I'm a member of
maybe one of the BMI groups and something. I said, and don't go there like everybody. I said, when you show up, everybody's going to be handing you a business card. I can make pins for you. I can do the signs. I can do this. And what do you do? And this, I said, man, just show up and don't. I said, never ever act like you're asking or begging for work. Just show up and meet people, man, and find out what they do, and if you can help them in any way. That's what networking events. You want to be the guy that damn, shit, man, Anthony never needs anything, man. That dude's so now you're never desperate. So when they do need you, it's like when someone mentions to them, hey, you know someone who remodels kitchens. Oh man, shit! This dude Anthony at the Chamber of Commerce was like, man, I don't know. I think he's always booked up, but I can call him for you. I can give you his number. Tell him that so and so said. Maybe he can squeeze you in or something. If nothing else, I know he's got this fucking book that give you the questions to ask other contractors to save you some money, because you're not going there showing up begging for work. That's what kills me.
You touched on something really key there too. Like, don't go up there and show up and act like, hey, here's what I do. Here's what I do. Here's what I do. It's like, it's a psychological thing, man. It goes into how to win friends and influence people, the 48 laws of power. Just the psychology of sell altogether is like, hey, enough about me. Tell me about you. Right. Yeah. And tell me about your project. Tell me about your profession. Tell me about what makes you tick. And when you do that, people, if you get somebody talking about themselves 70% of the time, they're going to come out of that conversation going, God damn, Brian that was the best conversation I ever had. Yeah. All we do is talk about themselves.
Well, and I just posted on here. I think Bob's gone now, but he responded, earlier, like it's not a hypothesis, but man, because he's like, when it comes to networking and asking the right questions, and his pet peeve is people asking, well, what do you do? He's like, oh my God, I teach people not to ask that question. It's his answer. But man, he's got good, just his name is right here. Look him up. But with that, brother, man, we come to another end. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you taking time, sharing with contractors, sharing life wisdoms, thinking, all of that stuff. Any last words before we get out of here?
No, man. I think we covered it for the day. I appreciate you having me on again.
All right, brother. We'll see you next week, hopefully.
All right, Brian.
All right, guys.